The contemporary art world is changing shape in 2026. The clean, minimal look that dominated galleries for the past decade is losing ground to something rawer, heavy texture, personal history, and a mix of old materials with new digital tools. Collectors and curators seem to want work that feels human and a little unpolished, rather than perfect. Today, we're looking at 6 young artists driving that shift. One brings the smooth look of 3D animation into classical oil painting. Another turns the architecture of Rio's housing, its grills and railings, into paintings about the boundaries placed on women. One is reviving textile art, weaving silk and wool into pieces you can see light through. Another paints calm, sun-drenched scenes empty of people, inspired by the Mediterranean. One works in bursts of raw, bright pigment that turn a whole room into a kind of jungle. And one paints the strange, uneasy stretch between childhood and adulthood. All 6 are already selling for 6 figures at auction and showing in major cities, from New York to Rio. Maud Madsen. Maud Madsen was born in 1993 in Edmonton, Canada, and trained at the New York Academy of Art. She now works from Brooklyn, New York. Her subject is childhood, or more precisely, the moment when childhood starts to end. Rather than working from photographs, Madsen builds her scenes from memory and imagination. She paints adult figures, but places them in settings built for children. School buses, backyard creeks, blanket forts made from pillows and snow. The bodies don't quite fit. Fingers stretch too long. Limbs bend at odd angles. It's a deliberate choice. Madsen wants you to feel how strange it is to outgrow a space that once felt safe. Each painting starts with dozens of preparatory drawings before she moves to oil on linen, building up thin, careful layers of paint. The palette leans toward milky blues and warm nighttime light, giving the scenes a hushed, private feeling. What she's really painting is an in-between state, where safety and vulnerability sit side by side, and childhood hasn't quite let go yet. Agrade Camíz. Agrade Camíz was born in 1988 in Rio de Janeiro, where she still lives and works. She started out as a graffiti writer and muralist, painting on the street before her work moved into galleries and museums. She was recently named to the artsy Vanguard, a list that tracks up-and-coming artists worth watching. Her paintings look at the architecture of Rio's working-class housing, window grills, iron railings, heavy grid patterns. These aren't just background details. For Camíz, they represent the rules and boundaries placed on women around beauty, behavior, and power. She works quickly and intuitively, layering acrylic, spray paint, and oil stick until the surface feels dense and textured, somewhere between the energy of a city street and the quiet of a home. The barriers she paints, fences, grills, window frames, end up feeling less rigid than they look. They start to carry memory and a kind of resilience instead. In her hands, architectural details most people walk past every day become a way of asking bigger questions about who gets to take up space and who doesn't. Justin Liam O'Brien. Justin Liam O'Brien was born in 1991 in Flushing, New York, and now works out of Brooklyn. He studied digital arts and 3D animation at Pratt Institute, graduating in 2016. Growing up on Long Island in a fairly conservative household, he used screens as a kind of shield. That background still shows in his paintings today, even though he now works in oil on canvas and linen. His figures have smooth, rounded lines and long limbs, painted in flat, muted color, almost like a 3D render brought to life with a paintbrush. He usually places them in tight, enclosed rooms or quiet architectural spaces, adding a kind of pressure to ordinary scenes. The paint looks calm, but the framing feels tense. That contrast is the point. O'Brien paints people who are close to each other, friends, family, sometimes himself, but there's a real sense of distance underneath it all. His figures often look straight out at the viewer, yet their expressions carry doubt more than connection. In just a few years, his work has gone from gallery walls to six-figure auction prices in New York and Paris. Arpéa. Ben Arpéa was born in Paris in 1989 into a family of art collectors, so he grew up around art from an early age. He's now built an international career, including collaborations with Hermès, and is known for calm, minimal paintings of Mediterranean scenes, arches, open windows, empty swimming pools. His work is influenced by David Hockney's Sun-Drenched color and by the flat shapes of pop art. He strips a scene down to just a few lines and simple blocks of color. But he doesn't want the surface to feel flat or digital, so he builds his own frames from jute and linen and mixes his paint with sand and small pebbles. That gives the color a rough, textured surface that catches the light. One detail stands out across his work. There are no people in it. You'll see a glass left on a table or a plate of figs, signs that someone was just there. But the person themselves is always missing. That absence is deliberate. It leaves space for the viewer to fill in their own memories instead. Élise Peroi. Élise Peroi was born in Nantes, France in 1990 and now splits her time between Brussels and Arles. She studied textile design at the Royal Academy of Fine Arts in Brussels, finishing her master's in 2015. Her mother worked as a seamstress, and growing up around fabric taught Peroi to see it as more than decoration, more like a material with its own structure. Her process has a few distinct steps. She starts by painting nature-inspired patterns onto silk, then cuts that painted silk into narrow strips, breaking the image apart. At her loom, she reweaves those strips with flax and wool, working slowly and rhythmically, almost like a repeated physical routine. She leaves gaps in the weave on purpose, small diamond-shaped openings, so light and air can pass through the finished piece. That's what separates her work from traditional tapestry. It's not solid or heavy. It shifts depending on where you're standing and how the light hits it. Her larger hanging pieces and floor installations turn a technical craft into something you walk around and experience, not just look at. Geoffroy Pithon. Geoffroy Pithon was born in 1988 and now works from Nantes, France. He trained at the École Nationale Supérieure des Arts Décoratifs in Paris and spent his early career as a graphic designer, working with clients like Hermès before switching to painting and installation work full-time. His paintings are bold and colorful, almost overwhelming, closer to a jungle or an underwater scene than a typical canvas. He doesn't actually paint on canvas at all. He uses recycled or blueback paper and mixes his own pigments and acrylic binders. Because the paint dries fast on paper, he can work quickly, building up rough, energetic brushstrokes that end up looking almost digital in how bright they are. His process is loose and instinctive. He'll paint a large, unstructured piece, then physically cut it apart and reassemble the fragments into smaller, denser collages he calls cabinets. You can see the influence of Matisse's color and Hockney's landscapes in his work. But Pithon isn't interested in complicated ideas. He just wants the viewer to feel the same energy he had making it.